You know what they never tell you about monsters? They don't always hide under beds, and they don't always crawl out of dark forests. Sometimes they walk among us in plain sight. Sometimes we mistake them for men. And sometimes, when it's too late to run, we realize the truth. That what we thought we understood was never human at all. My name is Koda. I am a police dog. My life has been about service, about chasing down criminals, about sniffing out the lies that people try to bury in shadows and in dirt. I was trained to track guns, drugs, bodies. To most humans, I'm just a partner, an extra set of eyes and a sharper nose. But what I tracked on this last case wasn't human, not even close. For years, I've worked with Officer Ryan. He's a good man, steady, careful, with eyes that sometimes hide the burden of seeing too much darkness in the city. Ryan trusts me more than he trusts most people. He says my nose doesn't lie, that I can smell truth where humans only see shadows. Together, we've brought down killers who thought they could vanish in alleys, smugglers who thought they could hide their goods in basements, even one man who thought he could burn his crimes away with gasoline. But nothing prepared me for this case. The first time we were called in, it looked like any other murder. A body found in an empty apartment, curtains drawn, no signs of forced entry. The woman's eyes were open wide, her mouth frozen mid-scream. But it wasn't fear that caught my attention. It was the absence of everything else. No blood on the ground, no scent of sweat, no chemical traces of poison. She wasn't just dead, she was emptied. It was as if life itself had been scooped out of her, leaving only a shell behind. I remember pressing my nose against her hand, sniffing the air for clues. What I caught wasn't natural. It burned the inside of my nostrils, sharp and metallic, like rusted iron mixed with smoke. A wrong smell, a smell that didn't belong in this world. Ryan crouched beside me, frowning. "Anything, boy? You got something?" I barked low, uneasy. But what could I tell him? How could I explain that what lingered here wasn't human scent at all? The city thought it was a serial killer. The press ran with headlines, "Phantom Killer Strikes Again." The department assigned us full-time, convinced we were dealing with a man clever enough to cover his tracks. But from the very first trail, I knew the truth. This wasn't a man. Every crime scene was the same. A lifeless body, eyes wide with terror. No wounds, no bruises, no evidence of a struggle. The only thing left behind was that stench, bitter and burning, as if the air itself had been scorched. And every trail I followed ended the same way. Dead, empty, as if the scent dissolved into nothingness. No footprints, no cigarette butts, no scraps of fabric or hair, just silence. Ryan grew frustrated. I could see it in the tight set of his jaw, hear it in the way he cursed under his breath. "He's too careful, Koda," he muttered one night, flashlight beam cutting through the alley. "Too damn smart, covers every trace." But I knew better. It wasn't careful. It wasn't human enough to leave traces behind. As the weeks dragged on, the killings grew bolder. Victims taken from busy streets, from bars and train stations, places with cameras, places where people should have noticed. But no one saw anything. Not really. Witnesses talked about shadows that moved against the light, about shapes too tall, too twisted to belong to any man. But humans dismiss what doesn't fit their world. They said fear makes people imagine things. They said trauma bends memory. But I knew the truth. I smelled it. One night, we followed the scent through a tunnel beneath the city. My paws splashed through black water, the air thick with that bitter electric odor. Ryan's boots echoed behind me, his breath heavy. "Where's he leading us, boy?" "You got him?" I barked, pulled forward, my whole body tense. The smell was stronger than ever, sharp enough to sting, and then I saw it. At the far end of the tunnel, a shadow detached itself from the wall. It was tall, too tall. Its limbs were long and bent at angles that made no sense. Its shape flickered, shifting like smoke in wind. And then I saw the eyes, red, glowing, burning holes in the dark. My bark ripped through the silence, raw and panicked. It turned, and in that moment, every instinct I had screamed the same truth. This was not human. Ryan came running, panting, gun already drawn. Koda! What is it? Where is he? To him, the tunnel was empty, just wet concrete and dripping pipes. But to me, it was full of something ancient and wrong. The thing watched me, head tilted, smiling though it had no mouth. I lunged. My teeth sank into its form. It wasn't flesh. It wasn't bone. It was cold, colder than anything I had ever felt, like biting into pure electricity. My jaw burned, pain shooting up my skull. The thing didn't bleed. It didn't even flinch. It only laughed, a soundless laugh that shuddered through the air like broken glass. Ryan shouted, pulling me back by the harness. Easy! Easy, boy! He fired into the darkness. Bullets sparked off stone. Nothing fell. Nothing bled. Nothing human stood there. But I knew. I knew it was watching us, waiting, as if the hunt wasn't over, as if this was only the beginning. When we got back to the car, Ryan's hands shook as he reloaded. He cursed again, slamming his fist against the dashboard. He's playing with us, Koda. He's mocking us. I lay in the back seat, jaw aching from the burn, body trembling with what I'd felt. Not heat, not pain from flesh or bone. Something else. Something that didn't belong in this world. I didn't know how to explain it to him. I didn't know how to tell him that we weren't hunting a man. We were being studied, toyed with. This thing wasn't just killing because it had to. It was learning. And that realization chilled me deeper than any winter wind. That night, lying in my cage at the station, I couldn't sleep. My nose still burned with that metallic scent, sharp and acrid. My teeth ached with the memory of that unnatural flesh. I listened to the hum of the building, the shuffle of officers coming and going, the distant city sounds beyond. But underneath it all, I felt something else, a presence, watching, waiting, learning. And for the first time in my life as a police dog, as a loyal partner, as a hunter of men, I was afraid. After that night in the tunnel, everything changed. Ryan wrote it off as a dead lead, another trick of shadows and stress, but I knew better. I carried the burn in my jaw for days, a reminder of what I had bitten into. He thought I was restless from long shifts, but the truth was, I couldn't shake the smell. It lingered in me, sharp and metallic, like it had branded itself into my nose forever. The killings didn't stop. If anything, they became more frequent. A man found in his car, seatbelt still buckled, eyes wide open but heart stopped. A woman collapsed at a bus stop, groceries scattered at her feet, her face frozen in terror though no one touched her. The city whispered of a phantom, of a killer too clever for the police to catch. But I knew cleverness had nothing to do with it. Each crime scene left the same mark. No footprints, no fingerprints, no signs of a struggle, just silence and that smell. By the fourth body, even Ryan admitted it was strange. He'd rub his face, mutter about the pressed breathing down his neck. No weapon, no trace, no motive. What the hell are we chasing, boy? He looked to me for answers, but I couldn't give him words. I could only whine low in my throat, tug toward the places no one else dared to look. We started chasing reports, strange lights in alleys, shadows stretching too far, witnesses swearing they heard voices though no one was there. Each time the trail ended the same way, emptiness. Ryan grew tired, eyes sunken, hands trembling on the wheel during late-night drives. But me, I couldn't rest. Every bark, every growl, every pull of my leash screamed the same truth. This wasn't a man we were hunting. One night a call came in that changed everything. A body in a warehouse, abandoned for decades. By the time we arrived, the place stank of mildew and rust. Ryan's flashlight cut through dust, hanging thick in the air. I sniffed the ground and stopped cold. The scent was everywhere, so strong it clawed at the back of my throat. It wasn't like before. It wasn't fading. It was fresh. I pulled hard, barking sharp and frantic. Ryan followed, his boots crunching glass. The warehouse was a maze of shadows, beams sagging, rats scurrying. But I knew exactly where to go. The smell led me to the center of the floor, to a spot where the dust had been disturbed. Ryan crouched, squinting. "What is it, boy? What do you see?" There was no body, not this time. No corpse emptied of life. Just a circle scorched black into the concrete, the edges cracked like lightning had struck. Ryan cursed under his breath, running his hand along the mark. "This isn't right. None of this is right." I paced the edges of the circle, hackles raised, tail stiff, barking into the empty air. I could feel it watching us. Then came the sound, a scrape, low and long, like claws dragged along steel. Ryan spun, gun raised, flashlight cutting through dust. Nothing there, but I saw movement. The shadow again, stretching wrong across the wall, bending where no light touched it. My growl rolled low in my chest. Ryan saw my stance and whispered, "Easy, Koda." "Easy?" It stepped forward, not into the light, but into the edges of what my eyes could make out. Its shape flickered, taller than any man, arms too long, body too thin. Those eyes burned again, red and searing. Ryan couldn't see them, but I could. I lunged, barking, snarling. But Ryan pulled me back by the harness. He aimed and fired into the dark. The sound was deafening in the hollow space. Bullets sparking off rusted beams. But nothing fell. That laugh came again, soundless but heavy, pressing into my skull like claws scraping the inside of my mind. Ryan winced, clutching his head, though he didn't know why. He looked at me, pale, muttering, "What the hell is happening, boy?" Then it vanished, just gone. No footsteps, no retreat, just absence, as if it had never been there at all. Back in the patrol car, Ryan sat in silence, hands trembling against the wheel. I curled in the back seat, my body tense, ears pinned back. He finally spoke, his voice barely more than a whisper. "What if we're not chasing a man, Koda? What if it's something else?" He shook his head immediately as though ashamed of the thought. That's crazy. We don't believe in monsters." But I did. I had seen it, smelled it, bitten it, and I knew what stalked this city wasn't human. After that night, Ryan changed. He started drinking more, staring too long at evidence boards filled with photographs of the victims. He'd trace circles around their faces with his finger, muttering theories to himself. Copycat? Ritual? Something chemical? He wanted logic. He needed the world to make sense. But the deeper he dug, the less sense it made. And me, I grew restless. My sleep was haunted by dreams of red eyes in the dark. I'd wake in the kennel with my teeth bared, growling at nothing. The other officers joked I was going crazy. "What's wrong with your dog, Ryan? He sees ghosts now?" They laughed, but Ryan never did. He looked at me with the same haunted eyes I saw in the victims. The killings didn't slow. If anything, the pace increased. 2 victims in 1 week, then 3. Different neighborhoods, no connection between them, but all the same end. Emptied, gone. The fear spread through the city like a sickness. People stopped walking alone at night. They locked their doors tighter, whispered about shadows in alleys. The press kept asking why the police couldn't stop it. Ryan couldn't answer. I'll never forget the night we almost lost him. Another call, another victim. This time a young man found in a park, sprawled beneath a tree. His body looked drained, pale, as though life had been poured out of him into the soil. I sniffed, growled, and then froze. The scent was still there, fresh. Ryan drew his gun, scanning the tree line. He's close, Koda. I can feel it. And then it moved, a ripple in the dark, a shape peeling away from the shadows of the trees. Ryan didn't see it yet, but I did. I barked, lunged forward, but he held me back. What is it, boy? What do you see? I couldn't explain. All I could do was growl, teeth bared, hackles up, and then those red eyes opened. Ryan gasped, staring at the empty space. For a moment, I wondered if he could see it this time. His hand shook on the gun. No, this can't be real. The thing stepped closer. The air around us grew cold, sharp, wrong. I barked, snapped, pulled with all my strength, but Ryan held tight. He aimed, fired. The bullets ripped through the air, shattering branches. Nothing fell. The eyes blinked, and then the shape was gone. Silence. Only the stench lingered, bitter and burning. Ryan lowered the gun, his face pale, his breathing ragged. He whispered what I already knew. It's not human. God help us. It's not human. After that night in the park, Ryan couldn't pretend anymore. He stopped calling it the phantom, stopped talking about evidence or suspects or rituals. He barely spoke at all. I could see it in him, though, in the way he carried himself. He knew the truth, the same truth I had known from the start. Whatever we were chasing wasn't human, but knowing didn't mean he could accept it. A man trained to believe in justice, in evidence, in rules, doesn't know how to fight something that laughs at bullets. The department noticed the change in him. The captain pulled him aside one morning, voice low but stern. "Ryan, you're not sleeping. You're drinking too much. You keep talking about shadows and nonsense. You need a break before this case eats you alive." Ryan just nodded, but I could smell the bitterness on him. He couldn't stop. He wouldn't. The bodies kept piling up, and he was the only one who understood that the rules of men wouldn't solve this. And me? I was restless. Nights were no longer quiet. I'd wake from sleep, teeth bared, growling at corners where the shadows seemed thicker than they should be. Sometimes I'd hear it, the scrape of claws against stone, the whisper of laughter with no mouth to make it. Ryan would sit up in bed, clutching his gun, eyes searching the dark. But he never found anything, not with his eyes. The killings escalated, entire families this time, found in their homes. No sign of break-in, no screams heard by neighbors, just silence, and then discovery, empty shells where love had been. Ryan stopped filing reports. He stopped answering questions. He filled his office wall with photos, red string, maps, but it didn't matter. There was no pattern, no motive, only practice, only learning. The final night began with a call that felt different. Dispatch crackled through the radio. An abandoned church on the outskirts of the city. Neighbors reported strange lights, sounds like chanting. No bodies yet, just suspicion. Ryan's jaw tightened. He grabbed the keys, whispered, "Let's end this, Koda," and we drove through the rain. The church loomed against the storm, windows shattered, doors hanging loose. The smell hit me before we even stepped out of the car. Bitter, burning, stronger than it had ever been. My hackles rose, a growl spilling from my chest. Ryan tightened his grip on the gun. "You feel it too, don't you, boy?" Inside, the church was a ruin. Pews broken, altar cracked, rain dripping through the roof. Lightning flashed through the windows, illuminating the scorch marks burned into the floor. Circles within circles, symbols I didn't understand. Ryan's flashlight swept across walls smeared with something darker than soot. Words, names, maybe warnings. Then the sound came. That scrape, that low, dragging scrape of claws against stone. Ryan froze, flashlight trembling. I barked, snarling, pulling forward, my nose burning from the stench. And then it stepped into view. It wasn't pretending to be human anymore. It filled the church, taller than any man, limbs stretched too far, face a shifting mask of emptiness. Its eyes burned red, twin holes into something older than time. The air grew cold, heavy, thick with a weight that pressed on my chest. Ryan raised his gun, hands shaking. "Stay back," he shouted, though his voice cracked with fear. The thing laughed, not with sound but with vibration, a mocking echo that rattled the windows and split the air. I lunged, teeth bared, but the harness held me back. Ryan fired. The shots cracked like thunder in the church. Bullets sparking against stone, wood splintering. The creature didn't flinch, didn't bleed. It just kept coming. I pulled free of the harness, leaping with everything I had. My teeth sank into it again, electricity scorching my mouth, pain searing through me. But I held on. I shook, growled, ripped with all the strength left in me. And for a moment, just a moment, it staggered. Ryan saw it too. He dropped the gun, grabbed a broken cross from the altar, and swung. The wood shattered against its form, but the creature recoiled, hissing, the laugh breaking into something sharper, angrier. For the first time, I felt it react. For the first time, it wasn't untouchable. Lightning flashed, illuminating its full form. Not flesh, not shadow. Something in between. Something that shifted like smoke but struck like iron. Ryan backed toward the door, shouting, "Koda! Come on!" I let go, teeth scorched, fur standing on end. We ran, paws and boots slamming against stone. The laugh followed us, rising, shaking the church until beams cracked and glass rained down. We burst into the storm, Ryan shoving the doors closed behind us, though we both knew it wouldn't hold. We ran to the car, rain drenching us, thunder drowning out the sound of pursuit. Ryan fumbled with the keys, cursed, started the engine. Tires screamed against wet pavement as we sped into the night. In the rearview mirror, lightning lit the church. For a split second, I saw it standing in the doorway, tall, still, watching, waiting. Back at the station, Ryan didn't speak. He poured whiskey into a paper cup, hands shaking. I lay at his feet, jaw aching, fur singed, but alive. He stared at the wall, eyes hollow. Finally, he whispered, "It's not human. God help us, it's not human." He tried to report it. The captain laughed, called him crazy, said stress had broken him. The case was closed, filed away as unsolved. The press moved on. The city forgot. But Ryan and I didn't. We never will. Because I know what I smelled. I know what I bit. I know what walked in that church. And here's the truth that keeps me awake even now. It wasn't hunting us for food. It wasn't killing out of rage. It was learning, studying, preparing. And when it's finished learning what it needs from us, no one will stop it. Not the cops, not the courts, not even me. Monsters exist. They don't hide in fairy tales. They don't live only in legends. They walk among us, wearing shadows like coats, laughing at our laws, feeding on our silence. I am Koda. I am a police dog. And I know the serial killer isn't human.